Each one of us has subjective values. And then there are ultimate things that are valuable to everyone. Subjective values and ultimate values are quite different. Subjective values is exactly what it says. It is things that we find valuable according to each person's habituation, how they grew up, their environment, what their experiences were when they were growing up that made them feel something was valuable. If something on its own was valuable, then everybody would find that object or that phenomenon valuable. Since everyone finds different things valuable, therefore it must be subjective. If something has subjective value, then listen carefully. I'm not playing with big words. If something has subjective value, that means the value is projected. That means from the object itself, it has no real, lasting, permanent, true value. If the object itself has true, lasting, permanent value, then everybody who sees it must also have the same feelings. All right? Example, something as precious as a mother. Something that we must respect, such as a father. Even for some of us, we don't value that. For some of us, it's the highest value. So even something as precious as a mother and father, I'm talking about normal cases, it becomes subjective. Gold is subjective. Dharma is subjective to people. Wealth, popularity, friends, position, power, name is also subjective. Hence, if something is subjective in value, that means from its side, it has no power to give you happiness, pleasure, or true, lasting security and comfort. Some people find a relationship very valuable. They spend their whole life, their energy, their waking day, planning and plotting to get a relationship and keeping a relationship. Because to them, it has value. So am I saying that relationships and gold and parents don't have value? That's not what I'm saying. Am I saying that those items create unhappiness for you? No, that's not what I'm saying either. What I'm trying to establish first in a logical way, according to Lam Rim, in a logical way, is that objects we value are different with every person in this room, every person in this world. Hence, it is subjective value. If it is subjective value, and we believe it is valuable, it is our belief that we are working towards. It is our projection that we are working towards. Hence, when that item ceases or stops being valuable to us, it is not that object's fault. It is our extreme energy into the attachment. Example, some people, when they first get married, their wife and husband is the most precious thing they can ever talk about. Then if you meet them 10 years later, they're enemies. They're at divorce court. They have nothing but ugly things to say. How can that one person that you found to be more precious than the sun and the moon become more uglier than the devil? How can that be? Hence, even marriage and relationships is subjective value. Why is that? Maybe when we're growing up, we were told, if you have a relationship, you will be happy. Maybe that's what was ingrained in our mind, that's what was told, or maybe we ourselves are insecure to be alone. So when we are insecure, we feel we have someone, it can take the spotlight off of us. Or we can put our attention somewhere else. So then we focus all our mind on our relationship. If our relationships and getting a relationship and a relationship itself is of real permanent value, then every single person who has had a relationship and will have or are having should be extremely happy. Very happy. No insecurities whatsoever. Same way for position. Same way for name. Some people totally want to go for name. If I do this, I'll get a name. If I do this, I'll get a reputation. If I do this, people will like me. If I do this, people will think I'm great. And they spend all their energy and they sacrifice their time, their energy, their life for name and position because they feel that if they have that, it has some value. Now, why is it that it doesn't have value? Because it's the way we were raised. It's the way we were made to think. Some people feel having a good time drinking, going out, spending money, having the freedom to spend money, drinking and having a good time has a lot of value. Some people think that. It's not bad. It is not good. Drinking, going out, having a good time is not good. It's not bad. But your 100% slavish devotion to it is what makes it bad. What creates the misharmony or disharmony. Some people feel they need to be in control. They need to have power. They need to have people respect them and have power. If they don't have that, there's no value. And to them, value is that if they're in full control and people listen to them by whatever means necessary. And what happens in a process, instead of having people respect them, people stay away from them. People go away from them. People avoid them. Why? Because they know what you are already. So what made you not liked by others, or what made you actually lose the value you thought had value, is not you trying to control people. It is your slavish devotion thinking that will bring value and happiness. So hence, how are values created? How are values created? Values are created by initially karma, motivation, action, habituation, and environment. For some people, they think, oh, if I'm Catholic, everybody must be Catholic. If I'm Buddhist, everybody must be Buddhist. And they're thinking that everybody must be Buddhist or they're going to hell and they're not good and they're bad. That strict kind of thinking is not them being Buddhist or not being Buddhist that makes them go to hell. It's our slavish idea that everybody must be our way. That's what creates unhappiness. So, value doesn't really have value when you actually think about it more carefully. Value doesn't have value. So for making money, we will fly, we will travel, we will talk, we will stay up all night, we will, do anything for money, for our kids, for our jobs. We will do anything. We will sacrifice almost anything to do that. Do you know why? Not because we're bad people, but because that's what we've been told since we were growing up. That's the example we've been seeing. And you know what's sad is that even when we see people doing that and they still end up nowhere or unhappy or empty or lonely, we still do it because there's no other alternative. There's no other alternative. So we keep on doing that. So hence, example, a Dharma talk, attending a Dharma talk, attending a Dharma event, attending a Dharma function. Many people put that on the lowest priority, give it the smallest value, and put it on the last of their itinerary. Why is that? Habituation, environment, wrong value placement, attachment, and wrong environmental education. So what happens is this, is that if you say there's a Dharma talk, yes, if I'm free, if I'm able, if I'm all right, if I'm around, I'll go. But if they say there's a dinner, or they say there's a job opportunity, or they say there's a date, we will move heaven and earth to be there. Because we place so much value on those activities. But in actuality, Dharma talks, and not specifically mine, Dharma talks, or Dharma activities, or Dharma events are in actuality even more important than any other event we can do. Why? Because Dharma doesn't need your subjective projection to give it value. Dharma does not need your subjective projection to give it value. It is valuable on its own. Hence, what makes Dharma valuable on its own? Its ability to bring you out of depression, unhappiness, bad relationship, anger, negative body actions, it has that ability to release you from that. Since Dharma has the ability to create harmony in your life, respect in your life, self-worth in your life, and to change your mind into doing something that is more beneficial for others and yourself, it itself has intrinsic value. Since Dharma has intrinsic value, it itself is valuable, hence it does not need your subjective projection to give it weight or to put it up. That's why a party, making money, all these things, we're spontaneously drawn to it. Why? If we were raised to know that Dharma is valuable, we're raised around high lamas, we're raised around great practitioners, we're raised around renunciates and great beings, we will know that Dharma has value because we have examples. But if we live in a dark land or a dark area, dark means a place that does not have dharmic value. Dharma doesn't mean Buddhism. It means ethical Dharma. A place that is bereft or that does not have that type of teaching system of value, then we have no choice but we go for money, we go for name, we go for parties, we go for social events. Why? Because we're bad? No. Because we are so empty inside. We are so lonely inside. And we have so little value in ourselves that we must look for these things to give ourselves value or to make people feel we have value. And that's the ultimate truth. So hence, intrinsic value brings lasting, permanent, unconditional happiness and security. Projected values, example, relationships, money, business, social events, position, power, name. They're not bad, but they don't bring you any long-lasting security or happiness. So hence, those things are labeled as projected values. Why projected? Subjective and projected. Why? Because it's to you. You test it out, you can debate with logic. If I tell you relationship, how many people in this room will say, yes, that's the most important thing in my life? Some of you will, some of you won't. If I say to you, oh, having money, some of you raise your hands. If I say, hey, drinking, having a party, going out and getting drunk every night and looking stupid and ruining your body, who says that has value? Some of you raise your hand. If I say to you, hey, being alone and not having a relationship and being independent and being free, does that have value? Some of you raise your hand. And I say, oh, what about power and control? You can control people, you can tell people what to do, they do what you say. Some of you raise your hand. The fact that everybody raises their hand for different things tells you that that is projected value. Then you say, well, same thing for Dharma. If you say Dharma, how many raise your hand? Again, you'll say to me, well, some of us are raised and some of us won't. Yes. And that's out of ignorance and lack of knowledge. Because what human being who is in their sound right mind would not value self-worth, calmness, a development of true qualities like compassion, generosity, being respected, loving, being loved, not needing, yet getting, not needing, yet getting. How many of us wouldn't value that? How many of us? All of us would value that in one way or another. Hence, if we value that, Dharma, everybody's hand should be raised. Everybody's. But because you are ignorant, because I am ignorant, because we don't know, we weren't taught, we weren't explained, we will think that it has no value. But actually, it has the most value. Example, if you look at China before the Cultural Revolution and afterwards, how do people think and act there? Before the Cultural Revolution, when Dharma was prevalent, the thinking was very different. Very different. Now it's 100% materialism, exploitation. Each other, the earth, animals. 100%. So what happens is so when we're able to When we're able to find value in Dharma learning, Dharma aspirations, and Dharma work, and also Dharma development and Dharma social activity, what will you gain? Respect, confidence, fulfillment, purpose, and most important, friends who think like you. That you can let your hair down and just be yourself and you will still be liked. Because what they're liking you for is your your commonality. Your commonality in the attraction toward intrinsic value, which is the qualities developed from Dharma. So when you're in Dharma, I've met a person earlier who's a socialite, attractive person, and has everything in the world. And this person told me the reason they like KH is because they can just be themselves. That the parties that they go to, the people that they meet often, and it was in a group when this person expressed it. I was very happy to hear that. That when they go to their big parties, they meet all the who's who's, and they go to these big events, that they have to dress up and be somebody that they're not, and they have to go there and impress everybody. And this person told me that it's quite tiresome. It's tiresome, it's difficult, and doesn't end. Actually, I have two people who told me that. Two people. And when they come to KH, they actually like it. And they said, very simple, I can just be myself. I don't have to know anybody. I don't have to be anybody. I don't have to look good or look bad. I can just be myself and people like me. And I have a place I feel comfortable with. And you know, traveling around different, this person doesn't travel to out different countries, but traveling to different parts of the city all the time to go to this function, that function, you know how much preparation there is physically, and then mentally, you know how much preparation? And then afterwards, you feel drained and tired, and you don't get anywhere. But in KH, I can just be myself, and I can feel comfortable. And I was so happy to hear that, because that's the environment that I want. You see, that's the environment I want, but that's not the environment I want you to be addicted to. What I want you to be is addicted to that kind of environment so you can develop that in yourself. It's a learning center. So I was very happy to hear that, because that's exactly how I felt. That's exactly how I felt. And there must be a reason you're here. There must be some affinity. In my society, it would be considered a great honor to attend a Dharma talk with a monk. And the Tibetans and my people will sit without moving for hours with their hands folded, listening with their head bowed. And if they cough or they yawn, they'll cover their mouths like this, because Dharma is so valuable to them. When I came to Malaysia, I was outwardly shocked by the rudeness, the mannerisms, and the people, and the way they acted and they talked. But I realized that was my projection. Yeah, it was. Because people show respect or care different ways in different cultures. But Dharma is so highly valued. Even in Thailand, when I went around, when I walked into a temple, Thai people would get on their knees immediately. I was like, I'm nobody. I looked behind me when they got on their knees, but it was me. It was me. Anyways, so teachings are valuable if you know its value. And you will make it a priority if you know its value. Everything and anything in your life that you make it a priority is because you put value in it. It does not mean it has value. And that value that you have put into it is your own brainwashing. It's society's brainwashing. It is materialism's brainwashing. And you know what? Most of the times, it is your insecurity and lack of self-worth brainwashing you to say, do this, and you feel something. That's all it is. You and I are not that different. People are people everywhere. A lack of self-worth. So therefore, in the end, you never get the self-worth or the feeling of happiness. You just become old, you become tired, you use your resources, you become sick, and then it's the end. It is the end. So therefore, me doing what I did before was a wonderful teaching to people that I can do what you want to do, but I don't have to. People used to call me in the papers the model monk. Yes, and some of my doctors asked me, you're a monk and a Dharma teacher. No, you're a Dharma teacher and a model. I said, yes. They said, how did that come together? I said, I don't know. I don't know how they came together. I don't have 6 hours to give him a lecture to the doctor to convince him why I'm a model monk. So it's like that. So value, the point of that little conversation that I'm having with you is this, the point of it. And please remember. And don't just say, oh, that was kind of interesting. You go back and meditate. You go back and contemplate. If you contemplate on what I say, you will see a difference in your mind. As I contemplate on what my gurus told me in America, I contemplate, it made a difference in my mind. When my mind felt a difference, the people around me felt a difference. So value is not intrinsic, it's projected. Since value is projected, then the values can change. Focus can change.